KCNR, Shasta, Redding.
Hey, folks. Welcome back to the Dennis Miller Show. Tomorrow's the Derby. And as much as I love the Soapbox Derby, it appears it's also the Kentucky Derby. Joining us now, the authoress of Duel for the Crown, Affirmed Alydar, and racing's greatest rivalry, Linda Carroll. Linda, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing, Dennis?
Groovy. Before we talk about tomorrow's race, tell me about the book. This is back in the 70s, right?
Yes, it was. In fact, I remember as a graduating college student seeing this rivalry culminate in the Belmont.
So who comes out of the box and wins the Derby?
Affirmed.
And then the Preakness?
Affirmed.
And then the Belmont, which is the long one?
Affirmed again.
And is that the last time?
It's pretty much the last time that they had a real race. There was the Travers after that, but there was a mess in the Travers, and there was a disqualification. And although Affirmed hit the finish line first, he was disqualified, and the win went to Alydar.
Is it interesting to you that the racing's greatest rivalry, all three of the main races, were won by one horse and not the other? It's like calling the Yankees and the Brooklyn Dodgers the greatest rivalry. It never won, right?
Well, it's the greatest rivalry because the second place horse was so close. And because in any other year, had he been born in a year where Affirmed wasn't present, then Alydar would have been the Triple Crown winner, which is an amazing thing that you had a year in which there were two horses that were so great that they could have, either one of them won the Triple Crown.
Well, I'm intrigued then. So you're saying if the horse that won the Triple Crown hadn't existed, another horse would have won the Triple Crown. You realize how infinitely that is from happening, right? You're saying it's just a perspective thing. You're saying it was close to happening, and I'm saying it couldn't have been further away in the universe, right, of that happening.
Well, that's the thing is, this is probably something we will never see again.
All righty. We're talking to Linda Carroll, and the book is Duel for the Crown, Affirmed, Alydar, and Racing's Greatest Rivalry. Was horse racing always the thing for you since young kiddo, or what attracts you to the ponies?
Well, I think it's in your genes. I think you just, especially girl genes, we love horses. It's inexplicable. It's an obsession. And, when I was reading books when I was a kid, a lot of the books that I found to be the most engaging were horse racing books, kids' horse racing books like The Black Stallion and the story about the Godolphin Arabian, which was the horse that was the one of the beginning horses for what thoroughbred as we see them today.
Mm-hmm. So we're talking to Linda Carroll, and the takeaway from this interview, of course, girls in jeans like riding horses, I think, is what I just took away from that.
Yes, they do.
Let's talk about the Derby tomorrow, kiddo. And by the way, I'm not sure if we'll see another. When was the last Triple Crown winner? I don't follow.
The last one was Affirmed. This is it. We haven't had another one.
I'm pretty sure what we'll see in the future is even if somebody wins the Derby and the Preakness, we live in such politically correct times. I almost feel that there's more fame, notoriety, and goodwill to be earned by an owner who says, I'm not going to go for the Belmont because it's a mile and a half. I'm going to rest the horse. Wouldn't that be something that even trumped the Triple Crown at this point?
Oh, no.
No?
There's so much to be gained, if only in terms of stud fees.
Mm-hmm.
For an owner to be able to say his horse is the first horse in decades to win the Triple Crown, owners aren't that beneficent.
Well, I'll be intrigued. I can see I can see my scenario as much as I can see the other one. What do we got in tomorrow's race, kiddo? Who's the favorite? I don't follow it as much as I used to. Who's the favorite? Does it look like a good race? How many horses have entered, and what's the weather look like?
Well, the favorite is California Chrome, and he happens to be, at the moment, my favorite. But, but there are enough other horses that are reasonably good, that have looked good in the preps, that you just can't say that for sure this horse is going to take the Derby.
All right, so we'll look for California Chrome. And, folks, when you're out there in your bookstores or online, look for Duel for the Crown, Affirmed, Aladar, and Racing's Greatest Rivalry by our guest, the author, Linda Carroll. Thanks for your time, Linda.
Thank you, Dennis.
All right, kiddo. Have a good one. 866-509-RANT. 866-509-7268. If you'd like to jump in, and let's see if we have any tasty sound bites. I understand that Carney and Ed Henry from Fox were locking horns over Benghazi, which has been reduced in the White House's perspective, at least, down to a Fox story, i.e., Fox's troublemakers and everybody else has given up on it. I'm starting to see it broaden out a little. Major Garrett is on it a little. But Major has his Fox DNA, so I'm sure they'll say once a Fox guy, always a Fox guy. But somebody, no doubt, Krauthammer hinted that maybe people were embarrassed in the press room that they've been played. We'll see. I think I think there's a handoff from believing in this guy ultimately to realizing there are problems, to realizing one of the problems is if you don't believe in him ultimately, they'll flatten you. And you'll probably get let go like the chick, Cheryl Atkinson. So, it's been a safe handoff here. It's like a baton toss in a relay race. They went from, let's take the four players in the relay. They went from thinking he was a god who walked amongst men to thinking he was the best president ever, to thinking he had been saddled with George Bush, in ineptitude, to thinking maybe he's not that good at it. But at this point, you have to be crazy to want to lose your job at one of the big networks by saying that you don't think he's that good at it. But here's Ed Henry. He's always intrepid. He does it the way they used to, the Sam Donaldson method, where you just don't trust power. This number 19 soundbite from whitehouse.gov.
If the email was not about Benghazi, as you said yesterday and you say again today, why did the White House turn it over to a conservative group seeking information about Benghazi?
Carney answers in number 20 from whitehouse.gov.
You would have to ask the State Department about how they responded to FOIA requests. I would, again, point you to the fact that, all you have to do is read it, Ed, right? Top line points, goals, that kind of stuff. The only mention of Benghazi in the email is a question about what's your response to a story by the Independent newspaper in the UK that says we had intelligence 48 hours in advance of the attack that was ignored. Not aware of any actionable intelligence was the answer. And then what does it do? It cuts and pastes the same line from the CIA talking points that, again, was what Ambassador Rice used.
God, can you hear? Are you even interested in it anymore? You really have to grab yourself and say 4 men died, and you can get reinterested. But it's such a whirlpool of BS that it's tough to keep your eye on the lack of a prize here. Let's go to Larry in Chicago. Larry, I've got 2 minutes. What's up?
Hey, how are you, Dennis?
Good. What's on your mind, Larry?
A couple things I just heard on the news break between half hours of your show that Boehner may have actually done something right. He announced a select committee on Benghazi.
I don't even know what that means. Tell me what it means and why it's good.
Well, when you were talking to Charles in a former past-present hour, Mr. Krauthammer had said that a select committee is a committee like was formed for Watergate or for Iran-Contra, where an outside lawyer kind of takes over this thing.
Who picks the outside lawyer, Boehner or the president?
No, I don't believe it's the president. I believe it is the House that picks the outside lawyer. Their 10 stars, it would be,
Well, they better spend the next year or so finding somebody who's never lived a human life, because whatever the guy's done, if he's on to Benghazi, they'll destroy him, right?
Yep, they sure will. I mean, it's a move in the right direction anyway.
Yeah,
so.
If a guy's smart enough to head that thing, is he dumb enough to have never lived a life, is what I'm saying. To find somebody experienced enough to cut through a thicket of BS like this with a machete, you have to be a reasonably adventurous mind. Somewhere in a reasonably adventurous guy's mind's life, he's done something that they will use to destroy him. So, I don't know. I still see a dead end. But a select panel, what is that? That's like U.S., what is it, UL approved, Everything's select nowadays. They're going to pick a guy who either wants to protect the president or doesn't. If he doesn't want to protect the president, they'll get his head right quickly. If he wants to protect the president, well, they'll just give imprimatur what the president's saying now. I think it happened, folks.